he is from Faculty of Economics, the University of Tokyo. So in his great talk, Professor Sawada will discuss Bangladesh's impressive economic and social progress, often regarded as a miracle achieved despite numerous challenges. The country has made remarkable advancements under difficult conditions, including weak governance, political instability, inequality, rapid urbanization, and severe disaster risks. As such, this talk will explore the factors driving this success and the challenges it brings, such as pandemic recovery, with the goal of identifying effective policy interventions and other developing countries might adopt. So this is my pleasure to introduce Professor Yasuyuki Sawada. He is, as from the personal note, I have to say I am known with him from 2011-12 when he was visiting BRAC, and I was also working there. And he's a very good friend of Bangladesh, especially for the economists. So Professor Yasuyuki Sawada is a prominent scholar at the Faculty of Economics and University of Tokyo. He is specializing in development economics, empirical microeconomics, disaster economics, and field-based surveys and experiments. His extensive academic contributions have advanced understanding in these critical areas of research. Professor Sawada previously served as the Chief Economist and Director General of the Economic Research and Regional Cooperation Department and Asian Development Bank, where he led key research and policy initiatives across Asia. His expertise has also shaped collaborations with leading institutions, including JICA, RETI, AREA, IDJ3, Pakistan Institute of Development Economics, Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies, ERI, IWMI, BRAC, Bangladesh, and the World Bank. His work is widely recognized for its focus on addressing challenges in economic development, disaster resilience, and social progress, providing valuable insights into policymaking and sustainable development strategies. And he is also my collaborator and co-author. Thank you so much. With this short note, I would like to request Professor Yasuyuki Sawada, please, floor is yours. You may, it's a total 45 minutes, but you may
Yes.
about 30 minutes, then number of questions could be invited from the floor. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, Nonoma Malek Bhai for a very warm introduction. Salam alaikum and namaskar, ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning, good day, wherever you are. Thank you very much for having me today for this very exciting Japan-Bangladesh Research and Practice conference. And I was honored very much to have an opportunity to speak to you today. And as Malek Bhai mentioned, I spent 2 years in BRAC, Bangladesh, as well as the Bangladesh Institute of Development Studies. And as Malek Bhai mentioned, I also had a chance to work for Pakistan Institute of Development Economics, PIDE, in Islamabad. And before separation, PIDE was located in, I think, Dhaka. And so with that respect, I'm also feel honored to have opportunity today. So I'm going to talk about the Bangladesh miracle and challenges. First, I'd like to briefly mention about Asia's journey to prosperity based on overall development picture of Asian region. And Bangladesh is a really latest successful case of Asian development model. So first part, I'd like to share with you some charts and figures and data. And then, so this first part is based on my work at ADB, Asian Development Bank, where I served as a chief economist from 2017 until 2021. Then I'd like to talk about the main issues, Bangladesh miracle, as well as challenges. So 3 parts in today's presentation. Okay, So this is the ADB work, and later on, towards the end of these slides, and probably I can share these slides later on. There's a link to the 500 pages book freely available from ADB website. And this book, talking about 5-6 decades of Asian development from a different angle, 15 chapters, how structural transformation, industrialization, materializing Asia, and behind this is strong technological progress, resulted in huge investment in physical and human infrastructure, education improvement, health improvement. And also government play a very important role, providing viable infrastructure and also openness. And Bangladesh is a very notable example. Again, ready-made garment industries flourished, and that made a transformative change of Bangladesh economy and society. Then this book also touch upon social issues such as poverty reduction, income distribution, gender and women's empowerment, environmental sustainability problems. Okay, anyway, a few slides from this book. Number one, if we compare 1960, year 1960 global share of Asia's share of the global GDP, it was only 13 or 14%. But 2018, if we include Japan and Australia and New Zealand, Asia's global GDP share is as high as 1/3. So definitely Asia is one very important component of the global economy. And behind this transformation is very sound continued economic growth, resulted in poverty reductions we can see from the right-hand chart. So more look into what's the behind of a miracle of whole Asian economy. Very good policies and very strong institutions, mainly supported market-based activities. And that help transformation from agriculture to high-end industries and services. Then, meanwhile, very active investment in physical and human infrastructure, as we can see, dramatic improvements in education in Bangladesh. That's a part of this Asian miracle. And also, not only this, but also technological upgrade. And then when it comes to production sold to the global markets, having external open trade regime is very important. Again, ready-made garment industry benefit a lot from this stable and widening global economic environment. So across the board, again, we can see both employment output share and employment share. Agriculture continuously decline, and then manufacturing sector replaced agriculture sector, but also taper down. Then finally services, especially high-end services like finance and IT services, ultimately replace the overall or dominate overall economy. So this structural transformation happens across the board in Asia, and Bangladesh is not the exception, still ongoing. But at the same time, we should note each sector, agriculture, manufacturing, and services, productivity has been upgraded. So looking back 1970s, Bangladesh, one of the main industry was a jute production and primary commodity. And jute was sold at the low price a few decades back. But now jute has been used by, for example, Mother House. Mother House is a brand, this very fashion bag manufacturer started by Japanese women, Miss Eriko Yamaguchi. And the Mother House has branches in many different department stores in Japan. Mother House started using jute as a very nice, icon for their brand bag. So even jute it used to be sold at a very low price. Now jute is a part of a very highly productive and highly valuable fashion items. So in each sector, productivity increased, and then also meantime, low productivity sector to higher productive sector, this massive transformation happened across the board in Asia. And again, Bangladesh is one of the notable successful case. So we can check overall productivity improvement by somewhat the technical method called the growth accounting framework of economics. And GDP overall growth can be divided into contribution by investment and human capital investment, and also labor investment. And then we can also disentangle role of broader technological progress. Blue part showing contribution of broader technological progress. As we can see, 1970, 1990, 1970 and the early 1980s, whole Asia, blue is even negative and zero, basically zero. But later years, blue part, technological progress, productivity improvement became a dominant element of overall economic growth. Again, Bangladesh is not the exception. And behind these productivity improvements, early phases, notably Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore, and Hong Kong, they adopted strategy of imitation. Importing machines and the technology from overseas, and then reverse engineering, learning, also sending young people abroad to learn and acquire newer technology. So adoption or imitation was the initial mode of productive improvements, but now strong transformation towards a more own innovation mode. Human capital investment, tertiary education became more and more important, and very active public and private R&D investment. So as a result, for example, right-hand chart showing a number of patents approved by US Patent and Trademark Office from overseas. 1960s, top 10 or top 5, Japan was only Asian country listed in this number of patents ranking in US Patent and Trademark Office. But now 2015, top 5, 4 countries are from Asia. Even India was appeared in top 10 list. So this transformation seems to continue and strengthen over time. That's very important trend. Then openness was a very, very important element. So this chart using 6 decades data, horizontal axis is a growth rate of export of goods and services over 60 years. And vertical axis shows the overall economic growth over 6 decades. And we can see there is a very positive, very strong positive correlation. So those who engage exports seems to achieve a higher growth. Okay, and the PRC top right is a notable example. Bubble size shows the population size, and also a color. Red color shows that economy is more. Darker color shows that the economy is more open to the regime. Bangladesh is located in the middle. Over 6 decades, Bangladesh also achieved a continuous expansion of exports, notably again, ready-made garment industry, initially commodity products, but transformed into more manufacturing products. And that positive continued export growth coincide with the economic growth. So export is really foundation of continued growth of Bangladesh. And intriguingly, Japan is located just next to Bangladesh. So Japan also, similar speed, export has expanded over 6 decades and growth rate achieved over 6 decades. Although ingredient would be different between, there would be a difference between Bangladesh and Japan. But anyway, openness is very, very important point to support and materialize miraculous growth in Asia, including Bangladesh. And this continued growth achieved by poverty reduction. So left chart showing vertical axis shows the extent of poverty reduction. So Bangladesh continuously over 3 decades, so this is the data, because poverty statistics can be traced back to 1980s only. So 3 decades, 3 decades and plus years, Bangladesh continuously achieved the poverty reduction. Right chart, Bangladesh was not included, but 1960s and 1980s, Japan and other Asian countries achieved this continued growth without really expanding too much inequality. Okay, so inclusion has been achieved alongside of a continuous growth. So now let's zoom into Bangladesh miracle. Bangladesh Miracle, actually, we published a book from JICA Research Institute, Japan International Cooperation Agency Institute, a few years back. And my statistics slides, some of them are from this book. Bangladesh Miracle really follow what I described in first part of our Asian trend. So economic transformation from primary products to manufacturing and services, and also meantime improvement in each sector seems the foundation of Bangladesh Miracle. Then alongside social transformation has been achieved. Microfinance penetrated the rural area, women empowered, and then women started also contributing into the economy through a higher rate of labor participation. Microfinance programs in the rural area, as well as a ready-made garment industry, women play a core role. And behind this is a continued improvement of education, human capital of women, as well as men. So social transformation really ultimately led to a better livelihood and well-being of whole Bangladesh society. Also, having this said, there are challenges. And the third part, final part, I will touch upon challenges. Okay. So economic transformation, as I repeatedly mentioned, ready-made garment industry play a really core role. And starting from a very low level of garment production, now a majority of exports, Bangladesh exports, are led by ready-made garment industry products. And a little bit old statistics, but globally, clothes exporters, Bangladesh has been top listed, probably next to China, and competing with Vietnam and Bangladesh. Then that really absorb a huge amount of employees, particularly women, into the garment industry. And because of this, also, Professor Mushfiq Mubarak's work, Yale University's Mushfiq's work, also clearly showed this emergence and evolution and expansion, rapid expansion of garment industry really stimulated female labor force participation, as well as incentivized to invest in human capital in women. So education level of women continuously improved. And now actually primary and secondary enrollment rate is higher among the women than those among the men. One side note I'd like to make, a global risk, China and US trade conflict. And now Trump, as mentioned, is coming back. Even this is the biggest shock in addition to the Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But this global shock seems to generate serendipitous opportunity for Bangladesh. So previous previous Trump administration started imposing trade measures in 2018, and tariff measures on China's export to the U.S. And as a result, as we can see, top left chart, Chinese exports to the U.S. nearly declined sharply in first half of 2019. But that again, as I mentioned, serendipitous opportunity for competitor with China and like Vietnam and Bangladesh. Vietnam actually replaced China in exporting electronics and machinery products, as we can see from left down chart. And Bangladesh gained also a lot down right chart showing that Bangladesh export of government products and associated products jumped throughout 2018 and particularly 2019. Okay. So actually, this is a very important note. Again, having a open trade regime and benefiting from international trade, that's a very critical, indispensable component for so far Bangladesh continued economic growth. And of course, these lively, activities in manufacturing sector and other economic sector needs a basic infrastructure, basic institution. And so Bangladesh also has achieved that. Still, there are lots of challenges, but still lots of challenges having this said. Bangladesh has been achieved a quite remarkable investment in infrastructure. So here, Jomna Bridge is a notable example, and connecting different parts of Bangladesh into an integrated economic unit. And actually, I'd like to note Jomna Bridge project completed in 1998 was jointly funded by World Bank, Asian Development Bank, as well as Japan International Cooperation Agency, and Japan's ODA, Official Development Assistance Program. And even, as you know, Taka bill and the coins have a Jomna Bridge design. And also, as briefly touched upon, microfinance institution, microcredit, microfinance institutions really, make rural economy vibrant, and number of MFIs really expanded in late 1980s, 1990, and throughout. And as we all celebrated, Professor Mohammad and the Grameen Bank received a Nobel Prize year 2006, Nobel Peace Prize 2006, and also BRAC and ASHA and other institutions also play a very, very critical role, microfinance and other community-based initiatives. Then external front, not only exporting garment and other products critical, but also sending people, migration, play a very, very important role, and remittance and investment through this resource channels was very important. And Gulf countries, particularly many Bangladeshi workers and human capital move out, and then that also made a critical component for supporting or financing Bangladesh economic transformation. And microfinance institution, ready-made garment industries emerged that stimulated female, and also a government initiative, female stipend program, especially FSSSP, Female Secondary School Stipend Program, partly funded by World Bank and Asian Development Bank, that also stimulated the human capital investment or schooling improvement of women, and then facilitated participation of women into a labor market, and then contributing to broader socio-economic development of Bangladesh. That social transformation was really notable. And actually, I feel, again, this is the typical Asian type model. We've seen similar pattern in Japan, Korea, and China. So I think Bangladesh was latest example of a successful Asian development model. And education has been progressing a lot, but also I briefly touch upon potential challenges. So this is a little bit old list of public and national universities, applicants and the number of seats ratio. Dhaka University is 37 times fierce competition, and Jawaharlal University is even more than 100%, 100, people applied in one seat. So actually, still there is some improvements. There's room for improvements in remove this bottleneck of supply side of tertiary and high-end education. But anyway, this economic and social transformation ultimately led to better well-being and livelihood. And we can use the happiness index and in different domain, job domain, economic domain, housing domain, leisure, social, and marriage domain. Overall, this is a little bit difficult to see, but the thing is higher income leading to a better happiness in each of 6 domains. Statistically, we found this. And because Bangladesh, as we have seen already, continuously grow over last more than 4 decades, so we can see continuous improvement of happiness in Bangladesh. And this is book chapter from Dr. Mihaz Mahmood of ADB, and I wrote several years ago. So finally, I'd like to touch upon how many minutes, maybe I can spend 5-6 minutes to talk about the future challenge.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, 3 or 4, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So challenges. So I listed 7. Health crisis is over. How to revive the viable health sector. And secondly, how to promote and strengthen innovation-based growth. Number 3 is how to make economic growth more climate resilient and inclusive. Number 4, education. A couple of years, schools closed in Bangladesh. So how to revive high-quality education and upgrading education, that's a big problem. And number 5 is there is a huge infrastructure investment gap. I will touch upon later. Then number 6 is a medium-term issue, long-term issue. Total fertility rate of Bangladesh sharply declined. And then age structure, demographic structure change rather rapidly. So I think in order to prepare aging society, countries should spend 2 decades or 3 decades. Japan started universal programs, pension and health program in the 1960s, way before aging started. So I think preparing demographic change is a medium-term challenge. And finally, but not least, of course, governance issues is a big challenge. So right chart shows the latest economic growth forecast of Asian Development Bank. And Bangladesh, as we can see, to 2024, 2025, we see a drop in economic growth. April forecast, it's a bigger and the lighter color blue is 2024 forecast as of April this year. And orange is April forecast to 2025 growth, but strongly downgraded forecast in September, ADB. Naturally, because of political situation of Bangladesh caused this rather negative prospect of Bangladesh growth rate. So issue of governance is a big challenge, okay? So briefly touch upon 4 out of 7 issues: innovation, and climate resilience, and inclusion, and then infrastructure investment and governance. So Bangladesh is already joined a middle income group, but in order to middle income group, issue is so-called middle income trap. It cannot move out from middle income and then moving forward to a high income group. And ADB did some granular analysis, and we found, analyzing more than 5 decades global data, those countries stuck in middle income, their productivity, yellow part is very small. So innovation, lack of innovation. But those who moved from over 5 decades globally, those who moved from middle income to high income, we see this yellow part is very high. So productivity improvements and innovation is a key. So Bangladesh needs to take this seriously to further moving out from middle income to high income country. Okay. And nowadays, source of productivity improvement and innovation is a digitalization. Okay, and so left chart showing the data from just pre-COVID situation, 2019 data.
Wow.
Horizontal axis shows the digitalization degree captured by e-commerce usage in the overall population. And then per capita is vertical axis is the per capita spending in e-commerce. Bangladesh is located rather low, and per capita spending was rather small as we compare with the developed countries. And this means maybe you feel a little bit discouraged. Bangladesh is not doing very well in digitalization. It's true, but we should take this data as showing a huge potential to Bangladesh unleash this digitalization potential dividend. And again, digitalization readiness in terms of technology and people's readiness, governance readiness over all impact, Bangladesh is listed rather low level among the different Asian countries. But again, we should take this as a huge potential to unleash the Bangladesh economic development further. So of course, in order to unleash this potential, unlocking the potential, digital infrastructure is important, and also capacity building of IT and skills, and also usage is important, and supporting infrastructure, logistics, financial settlements for e-commerce, etc., is important. And then supporting rules and regulatory framework alongside putting extra care for cybersecurity and privacy issues. These are very important. So I think that these issues Bangladesh can, or Bangladesh government, new government can proactively undertake. Inclusion side, as we have seen, a continuous economic growth led to a continuous poverty reduction in Bangladesh. However, at the same time, we see a rising gap between rich people and poor people over 2 or so decades. So how to correct this gap, widening gap, is another issue. And again, I think, of course, government can play an important role, but at the same time, economic structure should be more inclusive. Ready-made government industry is one notable example how poorest of poor people can potentially gain, and also vulnerable group such as women can gain out of this overall economic growth.
So, Sawada, since you
Yes.
have 10 more minutes, so
maybe 2 minutes, I will finish.
yeah, okay.
Okay. And inclusion and resilience, I think green and the climate change mitigation adaptation is another issue. Asia, unfortunately, Asia's growth is a growth first and then clean up later strategy. So global CO2 emission, Asia play a very serious role. So half of the global CO2 is emitted by Asia, although economic size is 1/3. And vehicle orientation, usage of vehicle, number of cars also seems to fuel this CO2 emission. Right chart, bottom blue data is Bangladesh. Bangladesh also started from very low, number of registered vehicle continuously increased. So how to make decrease this fossil fuel related GHG, and also how to at the same time number of vehicle increase means a higher level of congestion. So how to tackle this different big trend in nice manner. That's the one big challenge. Then congestion, right? So left side is congestion index using Google Google Map data. So very granular data and the big data. We can construct the congestion index. Point A to point B, what's the time taken? We can get from different cities in different timing. Huge amount of the big data we can analyze to come up with a congestion cross-country comparable congestion data. And Dhaka is listed number 4, one of the worst congestion level along the different Asian cities, as we feel always. Okay, so how to tackle this congestion, and meantime, how to tackle global climate change mitigation? I think one solution is infrastructure investment. And right infrastructure investment. As to the infrastructure investment GDP ratio, Bangladesh is ranked the lowest among these countries. Again, there is a huge room to improve. Okay, so what kind of infrastructure we need? Actually, so-called transit-oriented development, TOD. So commuter railway. Commuter railway can reduce pressure on vehicle-led congestion, but at the same time, commuter rail can reduce overall greenhouse gas emission. So this type of commuter rail, or broadly speaking, TOD development is quite critical. And as some of you may, many of you, I think all of you are aware, so Dhaka started operation of this light rail, MRT. And last month, I had a chance to go to Dhaka and took this MRT. And now from Uttara North down to the Kauran Bazaar, there is a daily operation. And the usage rate was quite good. And I think operation-wise, it has been doing very, very successfully. And as a part of a JICA research project, I have been collecting granular data, big data, as well as each individual people's interview data to make a rigorous assessment of this MRT development in Dhaka. Finally, but not least, I'd like to mention about governance issues. So governance, actually, World Bank came up the very good statistical framework to measure objectively different angle of governance. Governance is defined as a tradition, the institution by which authority in a country is exercised. And governance from different angle, political dimension, including voice and accountability of people and political instability, as well as economic dimensions, including government effectiveness, regulatory reform. And so these aspects can be captured by from 6 measures. And actually, I don't have time how World Bank came up with this granular data. Many indicator of governance available. And then World Bank systematically collected a different type of governance index across the country, then statistically decomposed into this 6 components. So this is the best, most reliable, and most objective measure of governance. So this measure ranging from minus 2.5, lowest governance, up to a 2.5, highest governance across the world. And figure 1 shows the Bangladesh performance. Although this is a little bit outdated data, we can see all the indicator level of governance is very low in Bangladesh, and particularly this white diamond, which is a political stability and violence. That dimension, Bangladesh is really lowest. So improving, obviously, governance is a big challenge. And global data showing that better governance and higher income coincide together. So improving the quality of governance is really critical. And actually past experience from Asia showing that creating vision for the future that was shared across the wide spectrum of society and country seems to promote overall countries development. And this seems to be done by really forward-looking leaders in East Asia particularly. So I think governance challenge, this is a big challenge in Bangladesh right now, but I believe this can be, it's not impossible to tackle this governance challenge. And I hope Bangladesh will continue to thrive in global economy and global society. So yeah, I think I will stop here. Although immediate growth forecast 5% is not bad, but the inflation seems to be a big concern, and soon government will adopt tightening monetary policy, and that will further decrease economic activities. And now economy of Bangladesh is built on industry as well as services. So how to continue these two big sectors, productivity-wise and growth-wise, that's a big issue. But anyway, Bangladesh will, I believe, will continue to thrive. Okay, so I will stop here. Thank you. Thank you very much, Malek and everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Sawada Sensei, for your great, fascinating keynote. So I think we have learned, so we can see like how your research is Bangladesh focused. So you are conducting so many research, especially latest one I know like on Jamuna, MRT in Dhaka.
Yes.
Having said that, so I had some questions in mind, but I think it is better if I invite some questions from the audience. So because time is limited, so one questions I like to take from like engineering background people. So any questions from I like to from engineering, then from medical science, then agriculture, then economics. So if we find time, but only we have 2 minutes only we have. So anyway, so we like to one questions. Anyone from engineering track? If no, then second medical public health track. If no, then agriculture science track. And okay, so yeah, Monsieur, yeah, Dr. Monsieur, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Malek. I have just, I would like to know about the context regarding disaster resilience in Bangladesh. How much we are prepared? And what about the current situation in relation to disaster resilience?
Yes, that's a very important question. And I'm, as an expert of disaster economics, unfortunately, I skip this whole part about disaster. And in Bangladesh context, cyclone is one of the biggest disaster. But over the 4 decades or even 5 decades, Bangladesh has been really successfully handling this disaster-related damages. Early warning system. Initially, it was community-based, but early warning system in place, and also infrastructure, associated infrastructure like cyclone shelters here and there, with the support of JICA and other partners. That has been really successful. But having this said, yes, still disaster risks remains, especially Chol area and the flooding caused by a cyclone. And another one, actually, broadly speaking, disaster is not only cyclone and flooding, but also geological related, earthquake and tsunami, and then biological related. So earthquakes in Dhaka, actually, JICA has some work, potential risk of earthquake. If hit in Dhaka, that will be really a tragedy. So I think we also need to prepare for earthquake. And as you can see, Nepal and Kathmandu was hit by earthquake several years ago and caused a huge damage. So preparation is needed. And the biological disasters, we also, across the countries, we encounter COVID-19 pandemic. And so these biological disasters we shouldn't forget. And another type of disaster is the technological related. Some collapse of a bridge or nuclear power plant failure in Japan. These are the part of a technological disaster. So we need to also pay attention to the technological related disasters and related to the Rana Plaza collapse several years ago. That was a part of one very, very sad example of a technological disaster. So not only natural disaster in narrow sense, but also we need to pay attention to the broader disaster, including technological disaster, economic crisis, and also now violence or political related disasters we are tackling. So actually, when it comes to disaster, again, Bangladesh achieved a notable success in reducing tragedy in cyclone and flooding. Still there is a problem, but trend-wise, dramatic decline and successful case. But we need to pay attention to this narrow sense natural disaster, but also broader sense, technological, economy, and human-made disasters and political related disaster. So unfortunately, I don't have much time, but what I'd like to convey is that we need to broaden scope, and then we need to monitor, and then prepare. So both investment in infrastructure and institutions needed, and also exposed, coping schemes and contingency kind of plan and policies. These are very, very critical.
So
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
your
Sawada-san.
time is up, but if you like to, this is a break time, lunch time. So if you give us 4 more minutes, possibly we can take few questions, or otherwise we can stop. What do you think, Sadhu Sensei?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Okay. So any other questions from the floor? Many people are already leave because they gave for Friday prayer. So yeah, it's a Friday prayer time. So, but anyway, so if
Yes.
anyone have any more questions, then we can go with. If no, so I have a one question.
Yes.
I think you rightly mentioned last challenges 7, like tackling issues and governance, weak institutions, corruption and trust. So like regime has been changed in Bangladesh last
Yes.
August. So we are very optimistic, but at the same time, like we see a lot of trust issue is there. So people sometimes becomes very impatient. So what do you think? Like Bangladesh can overcome this transition period or in next few months? Yeah. So that is my questions to you.
Yes. I think legitimate democracy would recover confidence. So in a concrete sense, having a fair election, transparent fair election, and then certain groups and politicians and policymakers in fair and transparency manner selected. Then I think overall confidence and trust towards the government will be recovered. As you know, in Japan also we had a election, and then before the election, it's kind of divided even within Liberal Democrat ruling party. But after the election, of course, still there are some different opinions and different positions. But the election was election, the result of the election. So majority of Japanese people really accepted this result. And that kind of legitimacy really recover confidence and trust and stability, political stability. Yeah. Having this said, yes, still there are some remaining instability even within Japan. But I think election, fair and transparent election can make a substantial contribution to recovering the political stability.
Okay, with that great hope, so we like to conclude this great keynote. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Malek, and thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, Onek Donoba and Abar de Kahobe.
About the
Thank you.
call.
Thank you very much.
আবার দেখা হবে
Abar de Kahobe.
আরিগাতো
In
গোজাইমাস
person. Yeah, in person next time. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you
Okay.
very much.